And I want to tell you about a client that I just had before I came here, and they gave me permission to talk about them.
Would love to hear it.
Well, this was a gentleman and his wife, and the gentleman, his father had passed away about a year ago, and his father had a living trust. And as you might imagine, it came in a notebook that's about 2 to 3 inches thick. And as you might imagine, the son is talking in terms, well, Tom, Dad had this living trust, so things would go seamlessly from him to me. No issues, no problems. But I'm having all kinds of problems with real estate and bank accounts.
Why?
And as soon as I hear that, I know it's because the real assets are not titled in the name of the trust. So now it means that he has to go through probate. And he's really having a hard time kind of believing this and understanding this. And, I keep telling him, look, if you want to avoid probate with a living trust, it requires 2 things. Number 1, you've got a living trust. Number 2, your assets own your living trust.
So Dad never put the assets in the name of his trust.
Well, let me clarify that a little bit.
Okay.
One was a bank account that he did not do it, but the other one was an attempt by a local attorney to transfer 2 pieces of property to a living trust, but the attorney totally screwed up the deeds. This is a well-known attorney.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you're saying, Tom, that because the deeds were not done correctly,
Correct.
It's going to have to go through probate. It won't be able to be done through the trust.
You got it. Yep.
Well, that's really a shame.
Yeah, really a shame. Yeah, this is a lawyer that I knew that I thought was, man, he should have known better than this. He did a deed from mom and dad to a trust dated. He gave a date of a trust, but he did not give the name of the trust. You know the deed. It's got to go from the individuals to the name of the trust and the date of the trust. He's got the date of the trust, but no name of the trust.
Well, that's really bad.
That's really lame.
Because, again, that doesn't do it.
Doesn't
it doesn't
do
cut it.
Yeah, and this guy's a big shot in estate planning. He must have been a little off that day. So anyway, what I told the client a couple times is it fits right in with the commercial that I play right here on WDBO, and we talk about living trust. Yes, people have a living trust. It's about 3 inches thick, big old notebook. They paid thousands of dollars for it. They are under the impression that I've got a big old notebook and I paid thousands of dollars. Everything must be okay. But they have this false sense of security. So if you are like that, if you have a living trust and you think everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be simple, easy, inexpensive for your kids, hey, we're inviting you to pull it out and come on down and see me and Chrissy, and we will double check that for you.
Review it for free.
Yeah.
And Tom, with this example that you just gave too, I would say that, would you agree that when we review living trusts for people, the number one thing that is usually, if there's an issue,
right.
Many times there's not, but if there is an issue, the number one is the real estate.
Number one, and really of the real estate, usually it's the home, because lawyers have had issues over the years about putting
not understanding really what's the right way to do it.
Well, most lawyers over the years have not put people's homestead into their trust. Why? Because they're worried by putting your homestead, the home you live in, into the trust, it will be subject to creditor claims, and that's a valid concern. But there's another tool to avoid probate on your home called a ladybird deed. And that's what most lawyers don't know about as a tool to avoid probate on your home.
And once again, the important thing about that is because of the fact that allows 2 things. It allows, like you said, to, during your lifetime, to avoid creditor claims because it stays in your name, but upon your death, it goes directly to your trust.
Yes.
So that tool is very important because it's not about, taking your trust out of the picture, because the trust is important because it avoids probate, but it allows that to have both of those things: avoid creditors during lifetime and then go directly to trust upon death.
So, folks, what we're saying out there, we know a lot of you have living trusts, and we are inviting you to pull them out. You can drop them off, schedule an appointment to see me or Chrissy, scan them, you name it. Come by and see us. We will take a look at not only your trust, but we will go through and ask you about your assets to make sure they are titled in the name of your trust. And one of the things we're going to ask you about is confirming that if you have a safe deposit box, it is co-owned by at least one of your kids. Because sometimes people pass away and everything was done perfectly, except the safe deposit box is in mom or dad's name only.
And now it has to go through probate.
You got to get a probate order to get that safe deposit box opened.
And I also think, too, with that, Tom, just one other thing to add is that oftentimes when people then call us, and of course we speak to them by phone, and then they're going to come in and bring their trust for review, we oftentimes, too, tell them over the phone when they say, what should I bring? yes, bring the trust, but you can also bring any of those statements of those financial accounts,
Right.
because we're able to just quickly look at this statement and know, is it titled correctly?
Exactly. If we're looking at a bank statement, a checking, savings, CDs, investment, non-IRA accounts, if that statement is coming in your name, period, hey, it's not owned by the trust. If it's coming in your name, comma, trustee, that's an indication that it's owned by your trust.
And then we look to make sure, again, that was titled correctly. And then again, obviously people can bring deeds, which they often do, and or right there we can look up those properties. But if we know the list of properties that they own, we check that as well.
Okay, if you want for us to give you a free review of your living trust, so you want to have your will done, it starts by calling or texting Chrissy anytime, 407-808-8398.